Welcome to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast, where we aim to help fellow veterinary rehab therapists increase their knowledge and elevate their practice. I'm Megan Kelly.
And I'm Anae Lloyd. Together, we bring you the latest insights, research, and information in the field of veterinary rehabilitation.
This podcast is brought to you by Onlinepethealth, a leading continuing education membership for veterinary rehabilitation therapists. With Onlinepethealth, you'll have access to a wide range of online resources to help you stay up to date with the latest techniques, advances, and trends in the industry.
Our podcast features in-depth conversations with leading experts in veterinary rehabilitation. They share their own experiences and knowledge to help you improve your practice. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the field, our goal is to provide you with the tools and the insights you need to succeed.
So join us as we explore the exciting world of veterinary rehabilitation and help you take your practice to the next level. Hey Vet Rehabbers, it's another one of my Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcasts where we explore the journeys and experiences of vet rehabbers. We learn from their mistakes and gain valuable hindsight that we wouldn't have had otherwise. In this episode, I chat with Jennifer Eckenrode about her vet rehab journey. We delve into the topic of making vet rehab profitable and highlight the significance of each team member in this process. Jennifer shares her story of partnering with her employer to open a standalone practice called Paws in Motion. She discusses all the challenges she has encountered and offers valuable advice for those that are considering a similar path. In our online pet health membership, which now offers over 500 hours of vet rehab specific learning, we also provide free webinars in our limited access membership. We've just updated them and these are the latest updates. For the small animal free webinar, it's core strengthening and lumbar sacral stenosis, what we can learn from human back pain, lectured by Andrea Henderson. For the hydrotherapy free one, it's what's new in hydrotherapy research. Ariel Pichette-Markley lectured that one. And in our equine free webinar, it's managing the musculoskeletal health of the stabled horse, lectured by Gillian Tabor. Online Pet Health members, you can obviously access all these webinars in your membership. If you're a non-member, they're available at onlinepethealth.com/free. Before we head over to my chat, a quick word from our sponsor, Curacao Vet. Curacao is owned by Nada Robinson. She first developed her courses at this Colorado State University, where she started the Medical Acupuncture for Veterinarian Certificate program, and she did this in 1998. It was the first one of its kind and science-based platform for veterinary acupuncture. Today, Curacao Vet offers a comprehensive curriculum in integrative medicine with a rational evidence-supported foundation, and the courses include medical acupuncture, photomedicine, botanical medicine, medical massage, and integrative rehabilitation. You can discover Curacao Vet at curacao.org, or you can see them at this year's Vet Rehab Summit on the 31st of August. You can find out more at vetrehabsummit.com. All right, over to my chat with Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the show. I've been a listener for a long time.
Jennifer, why don't you tell us how you got into the field of vet rehab?
I've been a veterinarian for almost 14 years and always had like an interest in rehabilitation therapy or complementary medicine in general. But we had a physical therapist, CCRP, working at our practice, kind of doing some interim basis, and she had to abruptly move, which opened up a window of opportunity that I thought I could take a hold of. And so my rehab tech Mara at the time kind of advocated for me to be the replacement. So I went and did my training, had the opportunity to come back and really, really take it into a major department. I mean, I think we've really grown. So it's been exciting to kind of have this little kind of mini dream, if you will, where I'm like, oh, I could probably like doing those sorts of things, and then get the opportunity. And when I did my training for rehab, I fell in love with the hands-on part of the medicine. It's not just prescribe and see how the pet does. It's, really feel the dog, and incorporate myofascial palpation, muscles. Like, it's not just bones, which we kind of forget as GP veterinarians. Oh, osteoarthritis is bones. But no, there's myofascial components. There's compensatory things that like you just don't get to deal with in an exam room. I get to deal with that now. And I just fell in love with just the dynamic aspect of what rehab medicine really was. And I was hooked. Once I was certified, I was hooked. So I've transitioned from 1 day a week rehab therapy, the rest was GP, to now 3/4 of my time is dedicated to rehab. And a lot of the cases I see on my one primary day are ortho related as well. So yeah, I'm almost full time. I mean, I'll still have my primary days to, keep me in touch with that part, but it's been a really fun transition.
So I know that there's a whole lot of changes where you are right now. And is it that tech that you first started off with, the two of you that have grown the practice now, and you are hoping to make a move now? So you're looking for a bigger premises, and although you're going to stay under the same umbrella, you're going to move to like your own dedicated practice.
Yeah, we're opening up our own facility. We'll have our own name. Instead of just the rehab department at the Animal Hospital of Dauphin County, we're going to be called Paws in Motion, which is really exciting. And we're the first in our area to have an independent veterinary rehab and pain management practice. So it's very novel for our area to have it. And I think there's a real need. Our clients tell us, on an everyday basis, there's a real need. So as scary as that is to open up an independent facility in a very niche part of medicine, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Now, the change from normal veterinary to being a rehab vet is, as you say, like so big. There's so many things that you don't realize, that it's not just the bones. We just x-ray, and if you can't see anything on the x-ray, then you're like, oh, it's a soft tissue injury. And then you have no idea what that is, just the dog must rest or the animal must rest.
True.
When you look back now, I mean, do you sometimes think like, how did I actually get through some of those lameness consults, and like, how did I actually do what I was supposed to do without all this knowledge from doing a rehab?
Every day, every day. I was just telling a client the other day, like, I wonder how many iliopsoas strains I missed, or just called it a soft tissue injury and moved on with my life. Or the shoulder tendinopathies. Gosh, I see a lot of shoulder tendinopathies secondary to hind limb stuff. And how many of those aren't being treated out there properly, or did I miss as not even being able to assess a supraspinatus as the GP vet? Like, I don't know if I missed that day in vet school, or they just don't go into depth. But rehab opened up my eyes to soft tissue injuries in dogs, and then learning about musculoskeletal ultrasound and trying to navigate those waters and be proficient in that diagnostic, and learning how to do shockwave therapy has completely changed how I manage these cases. And they're less frustrating. I mean, they still are. I think they're really tough to treat and to get them back to function, a normal function. But it really opened up my eyes and kind of made me question the first 8 years of my practice.
I don't think you missed it at vet school. I just don't think they teach it. Like,
I don't think they do enough of it. No.
yeah, I think like fascia was the thing we cut off so that we could see the muscles underneath in anatomy. Like nothing was ever really said about fascia. Just like there was maybe one paragraph in our anatomy.
Yeah.
But it's we didn't learn enough about palpation skills and
Agreed.
palpating fascia and muscle and all of that. So yeah, I must say I'm with you. Like when I was studying veterinary and when I practiced as a vet, suddenly when I learned rehab, I just also just fell in love with it. I was just like, it was just suddenly, I was able to help animals, which the only other way I could have helped them was just to give them anti-inflammatories and painkillers. And I wasn't feeling like I was doing the right thing doing that, seeing so many side effects and things. So yeah, it's awesome field to be in. So let's chat about the new premises, all right? So how long have you been in the current premises that you're at? What have you got now and what are you moving to? So like how much are you expanding?
So when we first started about 6.5 years ago, we worked when our building was renovated, we worked out of what was the old surgery suite. So we literally had our hydrotherapy unit in one room, and that was it. I evaluated dogs there. They did hydro there. We did home exercise demos there. Like everything was done in one room. So we started When my tech Mara was working with the physical therapist CCRP, she just did an exam room. So we didn't even have hydro then. But we started in one room, and now we're a span of 3 rooms in the back of our building. So we revamped that renovation one more time. So we have a hydrotherapy room, a laser therapy sort of room, shockwave therapy, and now I'm sitting in my evaluation room right now. So yeah, we moved, I don't know, it's probably like 900 square feet, maybe. The building we're moving into is around 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
So we're gonna have 4 exam rooms, a surgery for like injections and stuff, a radiology room, 8 kennels, an exercise room, and a hydrotherapy separate room. So it's gonna be a little mind blowing to have that much space.
Like the dream, right? The dream
It
to have
is.
all that space. It's
It
amazing.
is. It is. It's like I said, scary, but like to go there, asked me yesterday about mood boards and what design I want, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're there. We're at that point where I need to start thinking what this building's going to look like visually, and it's a long time coming. So
And so you've obviously grown so much in this time. I mean, to go from 1 consultation room to 4, you are going to have to do a little bit of marketing, or do you think that you'll fill up quite quickly?
I think we have a good client base to take with us. I think word of mouth has been really important for us. But yes, we plan on doing a lot of marketing for it. I find reaching out to other veterinarians can be difficult, but I feel like I've had a pretty healthy referral base for probably about the past 3 of the 6 years. The first 3 years were pretty hard. But I actually learned one of the best ways of marketing was from this podcast, was from you, was writing the referral letter after I see a patient. And I worded mine very similar to kind of how you said it. I listened to the podcast while walking my dog. And I remember that moment going, that was my aha moment. This is how I get my foot in the door, is I just say, hey, I saw your patient and this is what I found. This is what our plan is. And I'll update you in 8 weeks and we'll go from there. And just them getting those letters, and I've gotten some feedback from people where they're like, you're very thorough, and I don't have a time like that in the exam room. I'm like, that's not the point. I'm not sending you those for those reasons. Because this is what I do, and I'm a part of your team as an extension. So I think we'll get a fair amount. And what my hope is of getting a separate building is that those vets won't see it as another GP practice, as that, oh, all they do there is rehab, so the client can't get anything else. And I've been very respectful of that in these past 6.5 years, but I still think that's probably a slight worry that they see me as a GP within this practice that I could possibly just take their client. And then that's never my intention. So
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if there is a GP practice, then there is a little bit of concern. Some vets will refer anyway. But others who are a little bit more cautious might worry that because you are doing GP too,
right.
they'll think, oh, well, they might build a relationship with you and then just want to come to see you. So
Right.
I think you're right. I think that you might find you get other referrals when you move.
Yeah.
At the moment now, are a lot of your current clients that you're getting through the GP practice? What is the split between through your actual practice being referred to within vets within the actual practice referring to you and outside veterinarians referring?
I would say we're getting a fair amount of internal referrals lately, which has been really good. But I would say probably in the beginning it was 75% outside referral or owner finding us on their own. That was a lot of it. And maybe 25% internal. And we're probably getting closer to maybe the 50%. The owner compliance part is different. I would say I get a higher compliance if the owner and patient are not from this practice, which I don't know how to break through that. Maybe because it's like, oh, well, you're here, I can always come back to you if something gets worse. But the owners that seek me out from where their vet does not have this type of medicine, they are 100% in. They're like, I have done the other things. I am ready to try something different and approach this differently. And I would say the compliance is a lot higher when it's an external referral.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
I mean, there's definitely a difference when the client seeks you out to when you're being referred. Because when
I
you're being
think so.
referred, it's the suggestion, whereas when the client seeks you out, you know it's them who actually wants it.
Yeah.
And we love those clients because
Yes.
they just do what they have to do, right? And then we see the result.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So I think that is the difference is, yeah, this is elective, right? Whereas like my vet told me to come here.
Yeah,
It's, I
exactly.
found you and I think you're the answers. It's a completely different mindset.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've got quite a big client base that is actually finding you, which is great. So I think when you move to the new practice, like through word of mouth, and also, when there's a new practice and something that's new, you can do a whole lot of marketing, using the media.
Yeah.
So definitely get the local newspaper to do like a thing on you. And like if there's a mayor, get the mayor to come and cut the ribbon and
Right.
you got to use all those opportunities
Oh,
to
for
get
sure.
free publicity. And sometimes just even people driving past and seeing it, and then somebody will say, "Oh, my dog gets treated there," and people will say, "Oh, have you seen that new like veterinary rehabilitation practice? What's that all about?" And then
Hmm.
so just having your own building with a sign is sometimes just enough for people to talk about you, and especially if you're new. So
Yeah.
there is I do have some resources on how to get more publicity. So if you need
Okay.
any of those, please let me know and I can send them your
Okay.
way.
That'd be
But I
great.
think it'll definitely be something that you need to do. So once you guys are actually open, you need to get as many things, newspaper, journalists, mayors, wherever you can get to get you some coverage.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And luckily we do have a bigger within the company, like a marketing department. So we do have some people in that camp.
So tell me how does it work now with regards to how many days a week you're open, how many hours you're consulting and working compared to what's going to happen now when you open up the new facility? I'm guessing you're going to need to employ some more people to be
Yeah.
able to because there's 4 consult rooms now. So I'm guessing you might need another therapist.
Yeah, perhaps. So I have two CVT CCRPs that are on the team, and then four non-certified assistants. And I do have a per diem vet that comes in, does acupuncture and some chiro too. So we will be able to dedicate one of those rooms for her to maybe expand into. I also do veterinary student externships. So I'm in charge of those at our hospital. And so I have a couple of people who are assistants here who are now in vet school and have a rehab interest. So I have like these future people in my
Right.
distance that may come back and be rehab vets with me, which I would really like. But yeah, as far as the hours going, the rehab department actually right now, as it's set, works 5 days a week. Even if I'm not on the service at the time, I do rechecks, evals, second opinion orthos, any concerns that pop up with the pets, and then the CVT CCRPs take it from there as far as what um, I make a master treatment plan, and then that kind of guides them. And then if there's some tweaks here and there, they can kind of manage. But so they're working kind of in the background when I am not on service, which is really nice. I might be able to expand a little bit more. Like I don't work Mondays right now. I have 2 kids. That's my day to get my life together, and try to keep that ship sailing. But I might try to get my Mondays back when my son goes to kindergarten next year. So it's flexible, but I also want to only open up appointments and not have a lot of holes in the schedule either. So I don't want to like open up evals and then be sitting there not doing anything. That would stress me out. So but essentially, I think it's going to mirror very similar to what we have right now, with being able to maybe have some more availability for some follow-ups or just not have dogs stacked on top of each other. Our main problem right now is our lobby is like so tiny, and we don't like a lot of dog to dog interactions. These dogs can be painful, and we don't want them to get into a fight or something like that, be anxious. And so we will have to move a dog into a hallway and then move one to the evaluation room, then move it out of the hallway, do this little switcheroo thing. And so we're looking forward to at least not having to do that, because that takes up time, right? That takes up time and it's stress of the dog's moving. And so we're really just looking for walk in the door and walk into an exam room and start your day sort of approach. But I don't think the schedule is going to be that different. Thursdays right now are my procedure days. So I do sedated x-rays, any joint injections, dabbling in musculoskeletal ultrasound. So I'll do them on those days as well. So I do have like a dedicated procedure day where I can just kind of take a break from consults and focus on those patients and the workups that they need.
Nice. And I mean, at the moment now, do you have shared reception? So you're going to have to get your own receptionist.
I luckily were able to kind of have our own administration department. So one of those non-certified assistants I have is our administration technician. And so a couple of them shift into that position depending on the day and the hour and stuff, but they are essentially dedicated. We have our own extension, so clients are able to contact us through that. We have our own email address, so they're able to contact us through that. And we're able to manage our own department kind of pretty independently. If a call comes through the front desk of our office, the CSRs are basically directed, just send it to rehab, like get the information, send it to rehab, and we'll take it from there. Because my staff is definitely trained on how my evaluations go and what rehab is, that I don't even need to take those phone calls anymore. So luckily I have an administration technician that's able to field the voicemails, the phone calls, and the emails. It is a blessing.
That is going to be helpful, yeah, because learning all of that and training somebody to do all of that, that can be could have been a rocky start. So you got someone who knows exactly what to say behind the desk and behind the phone.
Yes, and they're all very good at it, and they have their own little system that I don't even understand. I don't need to understand it, but they have their own system, and it works. It works.
So what is your timeline looking like?
Supposedly October, November, move-in date, and with permits and townships and decisions and things like that, I would anticipate maybe a few months beyond that, but late October, opening to maybe early or midwinter, I would say.
And have you had any challenges up until now? Any things that you sort of like you just really struggle to make decisions about?
Not so far. I mean, the building kind of has its own footprint, so it's just a matter of what room we want to make, what room dedicated. I think the biggest struggle was just getting to this point, was getting my head wrapped around making a business plan and having to present that to our CEO, which was difficult, not easy. Learning the business aspect of medicine, understanding all of that. I've taken courses through CRI in the business of rehab. That was immensely helpful. My husband owns his practice, so I've learned through him P&Ls and things like that. But creating a business plan, doing the research to present to them that this is a viable thing, was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And thankfully, I have a dad, two parents who are involved in the business of medicine that were immensely helpful to get that started.
And tell me, when you approached them and they heard your plan, did they buy in straight away, or did you have to do a bit of convincing?
I didn't. I had the support of our medical director. He's always been a huge supporter of me, of our department. And so there wasn't a lot. It was just the red tape of having to go through corporate. So yeah, the CEO thinks it's a great idea, but the COO and the CFO also have to think it was a good idea. And there was a bit of management transition there for a while. So it got stalled, and I'm a bit of a squeaky wheel. Like I didn't let it die in transition. Like I wasn't going to just say, oh, okay, we'll wait on this. I kept pushing. My medical director kept pushing for us. And so, it took almost two years, but we're at this point. I mean, it seems like it's going too fast, but but no, that was the hardest struggle, was just getting the project initiated. And it is a leap of faith, right? Because our company has never done a de novo specialty practice before. They've done partnerships with existing practices, but to start a separate facility independently is new to them. So.
And I mean, are you going to be a partner in this, or how's it going to work financially?
Yeah, partnership. That's how it's structured. My technician will hopefully be a partnership as well, which I think is huge. I would not only is she my partner in medicine, but to be a partner in business with her would be amazing because this is her dream as much as it was mine. And yeah, it'll, I think it's a really cool opportunity to have a technician in our company have that sort of status. So,
Yeah. And you've grown it together, right? It was the two of you. That's pretty
yeah,
much
she
the point.
technically was a tech and rehab and a non-certified tech and rehab prior to me because she was working with our previous practitioner. And so she's been doing it longer than me technically. And then she got her certification in CCRP about 6 months after I got mine. So, but yeah, we've literally grown together. And I love the fact that we went to the two different schools of thought to be able to combine both of those teachings and kind of play off of each other on our strengths and our weaknesses and our learnings. But yeah, we've literally grown this. I mean, this is our baby. So.
And Tom, are you going to need to purchase more equipment, or the equipment that you've got, will that be enough to start off when you open?
Should be enough. We should have plenty. We have a underwater treadmill unit, two lasers, um, therapeutic ultrasound, and a shockwave unit, TENS, eStim. All of our exercise equipment's coming with us. So luckily it can just transfer. It's actually kind of nice for that. But no, we're blessed to have kind of every modality that we really feel we need. The ultrasound that I use for diagnostics is shared with the hospital, but that can be planned. I'm not worried about that. But no, luckily we're able to transfer and be very up and running when that happens. The transferring of the treadmill is going to be real interesting. But
Yeah, I've done that before.
any tips?
It actually worked out amazingly okay. I mean, the people that actually installed the treadmill moved it for me, so I was very lucky that they
Yes.
came and did it. There were a few hiccups, just with it not running as smoothly for a few days, but then
Okay.
they came and tweaked it and it was all good.
Okay.
So and luckily for us, it wasn't very far. It was literally about a 10-minute drive.
That's about
Um,
ours too.
but yeah, I mean, it took a few days. It was about 4 or 5 days to dismantle it, the whole thing, the tank, the everything, and then move it all and then put it together. And I think my biggest worry was that it just wasn't going to work,
That's
once
nice.
it was back together. Yeah, like it's all working fine now. And it wasn't, I mean, I bought it in like 2008, and then we moved it in, so it was about probably about 6 or 7 years old when
Okay.
we moved it.
Okay.
So but it did give us a really good opportunity to do a really good service of it.
Yeah.
So when they did take it apart, there were things like they were like, oh, we're going to replace a few of these parts that, they look a bit worn. So yeah, I can't give you any tips because I didn't do it myself, but I think it's going to be okay.
Okay.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, I figure it's gonna take a good solid week of being down and then to get it back running. Like I'm okay with that, but yeah, it's just it's a lot. It's a lot to move. So
Yeah, and it's hard for the clients because especially, I mean, my treadmill, like we were seeing like 16 patients a day
yep.
in the treadmill. And so it was booked up, 6 days a week. And, we had a waiting list. So to not see those patients, and then in that time, you're seeing sort of newer patients that are coming in that then somehow have to get fitted in to see the treadmill
Yes.
as well. Like you lose a whole lot.
Yep.
And I think the hardest part actually was the clients phoning, is it ready? Because we said, like, if it's ready earlier, then we'll let you know. Is it
Yeah.
ready? Going again. When can we come? You know?
Yeah, a lot of communication during that part of the transition will be needed.
Yeah, yeah. But that's great. I mean, and what about the X-ray machine? Because I think you mentioned earlier that it was actually a veterinary practice. So are they leaving the X-ray machine for you?
They didn't. They had a relatively new machine and the veterinarian retired and that was it. Like he shut up shop. So he sold all of his equipment. So yeah, the x-ray machine was sold before I could say don't sell it. Which is a huge, huge bummer. So the one thing we will have to purchase, I rehab wise, I'm good. Diagnostic wise, I will need to purchase an x-ray machine. but
That's such a pity because it was all
yeah.
there. And
I tried, and
everything.
it was in the listing of the sale of the building. Like there was a picture of it there. And I told the guy when we went to tour it, and I was like, "Where'd the X-ray unit go?" And he's like, "Oh, he sold it." And I was like, "But it was in the pictures." Like,
You can't do that.
I was like, "Tell him to stop selling." And I get it. Like he had to sell things because if someone's a buyer, take advantage of it. I totally agree
Yeah.
with it. I'm sure offloading that kind of stuff is not easy, but I was just that was a shame. But if that's the only hiccup I have, that I'll take it. I guess it's an expensive hiccup, but I mean,
Yeah.
I X-ray tons of things, so I hope to pay it off relatively quickly.
There's always a reason for everything. So maybe
True.
there was a problem with it.
Right. Yeah. You never know. But yeah, there was a tear shed that day. So
If you could give any advice to somebody starting off, and I know you're still in the very beginning of this journey, but is there anything that you think, oh, this has been really tricky and this advice would really help somebody? So let's say there's somebody who is working for a corporate or working for a practice and really, really wants to try and convince them to open up a standalone, under the umbrella. What advice could you give them?
you really need to have a really good handle on how to make rehab productive. Because if you're at least in the United States, the way we had to have our production started, if I were just to do everything, I couldn't make it all work. So you do need a multi faceted team where you have certified rehab techs underneath you or working with you, because if you don't, it's not, the vet can't do everything. They're not going to be productive. So my best advice would be to first make sure you have certified technicians working with you to be able to have a structure to make you as profitable as possible. Because rehab in general, I think they see it as not profitable, and I'm not out to make millions by any means, but you do need to eat at the end of the day. Or I do need to answer to a corporation at the same time. So that would be one. And to understand, where there are more ways to be efficient and sufficient with your time. And so what I love about rehab medicine are things like joint injections. Doesn't take a lot of time. It's excellent medicine for the patient, and you're able to, and it's a specialized sort of medicine too. Not everybody's going to be poking needles into joints out there as GPs. So I think that's a really good way to be efficient as a veterinarian within the rehab practice, and also practice high quality medicine at the same time. So just find ways to be productive, and then structure your practice in a way where you're as efficient as you can be. And that has taken 6 years to kind of figure that out. And I don't think we're perfect by any means. We are constantly failing things and revamping. And that's what I love about my technician, Mara, is she's very good at logistics. She's excellent at business. She can see the bigger picture, and she knows when we need to revamp something and move on. And you have to be flexible. It'll probably be the next thing. You have to be flexible. You can't be married to doing one thing one way for the rest of your practicing life. You have to learn how to pivot. And if this isn't working, develop a different way of doing it and start again. I think my evaluation form has changed 17 times since I created it, based on what I've learned and what I want to focus on more, whatever. And I added CBPIs for every client when they walk in the door to tell me their pet's pain scale instead of a 1 to 10. Like I've revamped it so many times that you just got to be flexible with this. It's ever changing medicine. I mean, I can't imagine. I would say I do radioactive joint injections. I would have told you 6 years ago I would ever do that. So you just got to grow with the medicine and be able to move with it.
I love that. That's great advice. And one of the things that at Onlinepethealth we're really passionate about is that vet rehab team. And it seems like you've got a great team there, like working well together. So yeah, that's super, super advice. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, it's been so wonderful chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights and your journey. And yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing how Paws in Motion comes out in October, November. I think we'll definitely have to get you back on the podcast in a year or so, just to see how things are, and after your first 6 months, how you've settled in the new practice.
That would be great. I would love to come back. I appreciate it. It was really nice meeting you. I've been a fan for a very long time. I've learned so much from this podcast throughout the years. So it's been a bit of a lifesaver sometimes when you're out in practice where there's nobody else like you, and to be able to have a resource out there to listen about how other people do things and what cases they're seeing, what frustrations they're seeing, and how they tackle them has been wonderful. So I really appreciate all you do.
Oh, thank you. Have an awesome day, Jennifer. Take care.
Thanks. Thank
Bye.
you. Here.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. I'm here every week talking to vet rehab therapists from all over the world about all things vet rehab. A big thanks to our sponsor, Curacor. Their sponsorship allows us to be able to give this podcast to you for free. So please go and check them out at curacor.org. Don't forget to bookmark the next Vet Rehab Summit. It's on Saturday, the 31st of August, 2024. Come and be a part of the world's largest online veterinary rehabilitation conference created specifically for you, the vet rehab community. Onlinepethealth members get VIP complimentary access to the Vet Rehab Summit. For more information about continuing education for vet rehabbers, you can go to onlinepethealth.com.